What is up, winning team? Today we are jumping back into our current book of choice, our current reading material, guys, that we are reading, Beyond the Veil, Exploring the Bubble Theory and the Fourth Dimension, A Beginner's Journey into the Higher Dimensions and Modern Physics, written by Jamil Chamberlain. And we are on chapter 6, discussing the S energy field explained. Now, I just discovered as I was about to film chapter 7 that I accidentally deleted my video for chapter 6. But nevertheless, the Lord works in mysterious ways, because I actually think it'd be good for me to reread this section again anyway, because this is a lot of new information that I'm wrapping my brain around. And, so I just thought it was funny. I just thought I'd let you guys know. And of course, if you want to know exactly why we are reading about the fourth dimension, why do we care? Why are we talking about this? Why should you care? Check out the playlist in the description box down below. In the playlist, I have an introduction video and all the other chapters in their various different videos for you guys to go and check out and see exactly what this is all about. Also, there's a link to the book itself, which you can purchase on Amazon. It's super cheap. Go grab it if you would like to and join along. And yes, you see the color of my tongue, guys. It's because I'm drinking tea, okay? English tea, English breakfast tea, right? We're in Britain, everybody. I'm just stating that because it's bothering me. But anyway, it's not important. So just to as well give a quick disclaimer that I will keep giving, because just to say that I am indeed a scientist, however, not a physicist. So a lot of this is new information to me. I'm learning with you guys and we're all learning together. So let's just enjoy this. This is very interesting. I've already read this chapter, so I kind of know what this is. But we're going to read it again and just go through it. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any more time. So chapter 6, the S energy field explained, a new perspective on reality. But chapter 6, the S energy field explained. So, as if I'm not mistaken, and let me just double check, because I'm the one getting confused, basically. In order for us to start thinking about the fourth dimension, my understanding so far is that essentially the same way that we have, say, the S energy fields are like, let me just read it, because why am I going to give you guys my, anyway, we're going to shut up now. How many times have I done that in this series? Okay. A new perspective on reality. Imagine the universe as an immense ocean, vast and deep. Within this ocean, countless bubbles rise and fall, each one a world unto itself. These bubbles represent independent realms coexisting within the same space, yet remaining distinct due to their unique properties. This is the essence of the bubble theory, a new way to understand the fabric of reality and the possible existence of higher dimensions, right? In this chapter, we'll explore the bubble theory in simple terms, using analogies and examples to make concepts accessible. We'll delve into how these bubbles can exist simultaneously without interfering one another and what binds them together in the fourth dimension. And as I keep saying, and I'm just glad that there's another scientist showing exactly what I've said to you guys a lot of times, that even though a lot of these concepts are very complex, it is possible to actually put it into terms that people can understand. So hence why, it says here about utilizing analogies and simple terms. I believe that a lot of science, at least in the West, I can only speak for Western countries, they purposefully use all this language, this complex language, to make science seem super duper unapproachable. So that's why I think this is actually, as I'm going through it, it's a really good book, I feel, for somebody, even if you're not in the realms of science. Like, this isn't the side of science that I was studying. So for me, this is just fascinating, and I'm understanding what he's talking about. So there you go. He now goes on to the radio analogy, tuning into different realities. Consider how radio works. In any given place, numerous radio signals fill the air, each broadcasting on its own frequency. When you tune your radio to a specific frequency, you access that particular station, while the others remain undetected. All these signals coexist in the same space without interfering because they operate at different frequencies. Similarly, the bubble theory suggests that the multiple universes or bubbles exist within the same spatial framework, but are differentiated by unique frequencies known as S energy. As remember, bubble theory, we're going into the fourth dimension, so we're no longer talking in three-dimensional terms now. Hence the S energy. So known as S energy, let me read that sentence again so I read it in full. Similarly, the bubble theory suggests that multiple universes or bubbles exist within the same spatial framework, but are differentiated by unique frequencies known as S-energy signatures. Just as radio frequencies allow multiple stations to broadcast simultaneously, the S-energy signatures enable multiple bubbles to occupy the same space without interacting. It kind of reminds me as well, this analogy reminds me of how in flights with airplanes, pilots have to change their frequency to depending on who they're talking to. And so even when they're like getting close to, whether it's that they want to talk to the ATC, air traffic control, or they want to talk to other like other aircrafts, they know which frequencies as they are flying through different places, they have to manually change their frequency. So it's all happening in the same space, but there are all these different frequencies that you can only hear or talk to people in those frequencies once you tune into that specific frequency. That's kind of what this reminds me of, even though there's going to be the other conversations and other frequencies in the same space. So I think that's really cool, because that's just what that reminded me of. I'm not sure if that I'm not sure if that's as good of an analogy, but that's kind of what it made me think about. So understanding the S-energy signature. At the heart of the bubble theory is the concept of the S-energy field and its unique signatures. Think of S-energy signatures as a specific vibration or pattern that defines each bubble, much like a fingerprint or a musical note. This reminds me of my scientific research. So basically, in the long and short of it was, I was looking at the infrared spectra, predicting infrared spectra and UV vis spectra for small organic molecules in outer space. Essentially, again, this whole pattern of like certain vibrational patterns, essentially matching knowing this type of vibrational pattern matches this type of this molecule, means that if you see those patterns, you recognize that that's the molecule, kind of thing, like a signature, right? It's really cool. It's actually, science is so freaking cool. So he's put here, we've got the unique identifier. The S-energy signature is what makes each bubble distinct, preventing it from merging with others, right? Hence why they exist in the same, I guess. Anyway, binding force, it acts like a glue holding the matter within a bubble together in the fourth dimension. So there's some force, it's the binding force. And non-interference, because each bubble has a unique signature, they don't interfere with one another, allowing for peaceful coexistence. Bubbles coexisting in the fourth dimension. To visualize how bubbles can occupy the same space without interacting, let's use the analogy of transparent soap bubbles. Imagine blowing several soap bubbles that float and sometimes overlap. Because they're transparent, you can see through them, and when they overlap, each bubble maintains its own surface tension, keeping it intact. In the bubble theory, each bubble represents a universe with its own set of physical laws and matter, bound by its S-energy signature. This is so interesting, right? I can't wait to get further into this book. This is what I like reading. If they'd been giving me books like this at school, I would have wanted to read. I hated reading in school. I hated it. Had you given this to me at school, I would have been locked in. I would have read this all over the weekend. Even if these bubbles overlap in space, their unique signature prevents them from interacting directly. Layers of reality. The book pages analogy. Another way to think about this is to imagine a book. Each page in the book represents a different bubble, a separate reality. The pages are stacked together, occupying the same overall space, the book, as demonstrated here, the book. But the characters on one page are unaware of those on another page. On another, the S-energy signatures are like the page numbers, keeping each story distinct and organized. Love that. Why don't we perceive other bubbles? That's a good question. You see how as a scientist you have to ask the question why. And I told you that one of the things I believe the education system has done has stopped people from being critical thinkers. Just like how people complained about kids and terrible twos and saying why. Why? You need to be asking why to understand. And this is what scientists do. Scientists are consistently asking the question why, how, when, how, that's what we're doing. And hence why you have to have these kind of like developed thoughts with methodical steps that start from foundational principles, right? That explain how we get from A to B, right? Cool. You may wonder why we don't notice these other bubbles if they occupy the same space as ours. The answer lies in our sensory limitations and the uniqueness of the S-energy signatures. I would love to know. You know what? Okay, hold on. I just want to make a note of a question. Quickly. Yeah, so the answer lies in our sensory limitations and the uniqueness of the S-energy signatures, sorry. So our sensory limitations, our senses and instruments are tuned to detect phenomena within our own bubble's S-energy signature, right? So essentially we're calibrated, our experience is calibrated for the universe, i.e. the bubble that we exist in. Different frequencies. Just as a radio tuned to one frequency doesn't pick up other stations, we are tuned to our bubble's signature and dimensional constraints. Our perception is confined to 3 spatial dimensions, making it challenging to detect or interact with phenomena in higher dimensions, much like how he talked about how, like, if you have a 3D shape, I love that analogy. If you have a 3D shape and it makes the shadow is going to be 2D. So like he said in the previous chapters, if you had a sphere, if you look at the shadow of a sphere, it's going to look like a circle. The sphere itself is a 3-dimensional shape. The circle is a 2-dimensional shape. Much like whatever would be happening in the 4th dimension, we're going to see the shadow equivalent potentially in the 3rd dimension. It's not giving us the full picture of what would be in the 4th dimension because we are in the 3rd dimension. So that's the constraints of our dimension, which is so interesting. An everyday example, multiple conversations. Imagine being at a crowded party where many conversations happen simultaneously. You can focus on the person you're talking to while other conversations fade into the background noise. Each conversation is like a bubble in its own S-energy signature. While they're all occurring in the same room, they don't interfere with your ability to communicate with your conversation partner. And my question is, what is this room called? Where all the universes are. And that, I need to make a note of that. So now we move on to the non-interference principle. A key aspect of the bubble theory is the non-interference principle because each bubble has a unique S-energy signature. They remain independent even when occupying the same space. This principle ensures that structural integrity. This principle ensures that, we've got 3 examples of the principles that it ensures. Structural integrity, each bubble maintains its own physical laws and structures without being affected by others. Energy isolation. Energy and matter within one bubble doesn't transfer to another under normal circumstances. Stability. The uniqueness of signatures prevents chaotic interactions that could destabilize the bubbles. So the possibility of interaction, which is interesting. A glimpse into the extraordinary. While the non-interference principle keeps bubbles separate, the bubble theory also introduces the intriguing possibility of interactions under special conditions. So we've just been talking about the non-interference principle, i.e. what happened, the reasons and ways in which they don't interact with each other and how they don't. But what if they could? So interlocking bubbles. If 2 bubbles' S-energy signatures become sufficiently similar, they might begin to interact. So that's one way they could interlink. Energy fluctuations. External influences or internal fluctuations could alter a bubble's signature, leading to potential overlap. Interesting. I definitely recorded this before because I remember trying to say this word about 100 times. Phenomenological implications. Such interactions could explain certain unexplained phenomena or anomalies in our universe. Right, because there's a lot that's to be explained, and hence there's a lot yet to still be explained in the universe, and hence why these theories are being proposed in the first place. We'll explore these ideas further in subsequent chapters, delving into how interlinking might occur and what it could mean for our understanding of reality. Cannot wait. Embracing the unknown. The bubble theory invites us to expand our minds and consider possibilities beyond our everyday experience. By using analogies and familiar concepts, we can begin to grasp how multiple realities might coexist and how the 4th dimension plays a crucial role in this framework. As we continue our journey, we'll examine the S-energy field in more detail, explore the nature of bubbles in the 4th dimension, and discuss the implications of this theory for physics and cosmology. And then we have our key takeaways as summarized here. The bubble theory overview proposes that multiple universes, bubbles, exist simultaneously in the same space, differentiated by unique S-energy signatures, which is where we're going next. S-energy signature acts as a unique identifier and binding force for each bubble, preventing interference with others. Analogies used: radio frequencies, different stations, bubbles, coexist without interference due to unique frequencies. S-energy signatures. Soap bubbles, overlapping bubbles, maintain integrity due to their unique surface tension. Book pages. So again, the pages separate stories. Bubbles coexist within the same book space without characters interacting. I love these analogies. Non-interference principle ensures that bubbles remain independent even when occupying the same space. And then the possibility of interaction under special conditions. Bubbles might interact, leading to fascinating possibilities. So this has really, now we're getting to the crux of the fourth dimension of like, okay, so not only just how do we visualize this concept of the bubble theory? Why is it relevant? And I'm so looking forward to what this is going to mean. And again, it's just a highlight to you guys to say that science is very much still an ongoing thing. We're still discovering a lot. There's still a lot that we don't know. There's still a lot of phenomena of things that happen that are not completely explained. And so that's the thing that I think is fascinating about science and is always worth being aware of as well. That as much as you guys know, I'm a deep scientist, that to not put all your eggs in the baskets of science all the time, because science itself cannot explain everything just yet. And that is what is so exciting about being alive today, because we get to be a part of the discoveries of things in the part of history in which we are in. Next video, we'll be going into chapter 7 in Bubbles in the Fourth Dimension. I believe. Sorry, I'm just making sure that I haven't like accidentally recorded this and deleted it. No, I haven't done Bubbles in the Fourth Dimension. So yeah, so now we kind of understand the concept of this S energy field. And so we can keep going deeper. I love it. I love this. If they had books like this when I was in school, I would have actually liked to read. I hated reading my whole life. As an adult, I started reading all of these like books like this, science books, 48 Laws of Power, the Bible, and all of a sudden I love reading. So fascinating. So see you guys in chapter 7. Like I said, the full playlist is linked in the description box below. The book itself is also linked in the description. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I hope you guys are enjoying this. And like I said, as the disclaimer, I'm a professional expert physicist. I am a scientist. I'm a chemist. And my favorite area of chemistry is physical chemistry and anything to do with physics. I love physics. I hated physics in school because of how it was taught. And then later in life, I was like, oh my gosh, physics is amazing. So love this. Hop on board. Let's learn together. If life's a game, let's play to win. God bless every single one of you guys watching this. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.